When a woman secretly misses you, her heart rarely announces it through direct words. Instead, it manifests in small, almost invisible attempts to step back into your world, and these signals are so subtle that most men overlook them. These quiet gestures are not random. They are emotionally calculated moves rooted in fear, hope, and unresolved attachment. When Jordan Peterson talks about human behavior, he emphasizes that people often act out their emotions long before they verbalize them. A woman who misses you deeply will behave in ways that seem insignificant on the surface, but carry powerful psychological meaning beneath them. Her longing doesn't appear as a dramatic confession. It appears as a quiet knock on the door of your life, hoping you open it without her having to expose her vulnerability. One of the most common signals is when she reappears through light, seemingly innocent communication. She might send a quick, "How have you been?" or react to one of your stories after weeks or months of silence. You might brush it off as casual politeness, but it is rarely casual. Women are far more intentional in communication than men often realize. If she reaches out even in the smallest way, it is because something reminded her of you. Your presence left an emotional imprint she can't shake off. She wants to reconnect without appearing needy, so she chooses the softest, safest door, a casual message. Her goal is not necessarily to restart the relationship instantly, but to see whether you still hold space for her in your life, whether you still think about her, whether the emotional bond you once had can be revived. Another silent signal is her sudden appearance in your digital world. She starts liking your posts again, viewing your stories instantly, or engaging with things she ignored for months. On the surface, digital interactions seem meaningless, but psychologically, they are small bids for connection. Women don't orbit around a man's online presence unless they are emotionally invested. When she starts interacting again, she is trying to step into your attention field without making a direct move. She wants you to notice her presence, to sense that she is still there, lingering in the background, hoping you will initiate the next step. These tiny digital footsteps are her way of saying, "I still think about you. Do you think about me too?" Sometimes the signal is even quieter. She asks mutual friends about you. She may not dare contact you directly, but she still wants updates. She wants to know how you're doing, whether you've moved on, whether someone else has entered your life. This indirect curiosity reveals a longing she doesn't feel safe expressing. Women often protect their emotional dignity by gathering information silently before deciding whether it's safe to reveal their feelings. Her quiet inquiries show that she is emotionally invested enough to care about your well-being and your romantic status. Behind those questions is a deeper fear, fear that she has lost you for good and fear that reaching out might hurt her more. You may also notice she reappears physically in places you used to share. Maybe she suddenly goes to the cafe you both liked, or she attends events where she knows you might show up. This isn't always coincidence. On a psychological level, people return to familiar places when they long for familiar emotions. Her presence is a silent attempt to reconnect with the feelings associated with those environments and with you. She positions herself near your world because she wants you to see her, to remember the connection, to feel something again. But she also wants to maintain the illusion that it wasn't intentional because direct pursuit feels too risky. Another subtle sign appears when she brings up an old memory. It could be a joke, a place you visited, or something meaningful you once talked about. Mentioning a shared memory is her way of reviving emotional intimacy without saying, "I miss you." She is testing if those moments still matter to you, if you still feel the spark she feels when she remembers them. If she didn't miss you, She wouldn't revisit the past. She would avoid it. But when she misses you, the past becomes a bridge she hopes might lead to a new beginning. Jordan Peterson often explains that human beings seek order, familiarity, and emotional patterns that provide meaning. When a woman re-enters your world in small, calculated ways, she is trying to restore an emotional pattern that previously gave her comfort and connection. Her longing doesn't come out through big gestures. It comes out in these small bids for emotion. Recognize these silent signals. You begin to understand her emotional language. You start seeing the difference between random behavior and intentional reconnection. And once you understand that her small actions are often louder than her spoken words, you will realize that missing someone is not always expressed through voice. It's expressed through presence, attention, and the quiet hope that you will once again notice her. When a woman secretly misses you, she rarely comes forward with a bold confession. Instead, she begins leaving emotional breadcrumbs, small, carefully placed hints designed to reveal her feelings while still protecting her from the possibility of being ignored or rejected. These breadcrumbs act as emotional tests, subtle probes into your responsiveness, your interest, and your emotional availability. Jordan Peterson often says that people communicate their deepest needs indirectly because direct expression exposes them to vulnerability. This is exactly what happens when a woman misses you, but doesn't feel safe saying it outright. She expresses her longing in coded ways, hoping that you will be perceptive enough to understand the message beneath the surface. One of the clearest emotional breadcrumbs she leaves is the way she brings up memories from your past together. She might mention something you once laughed about, a place you visited, or a conversation that mattered to both of you. This isn't nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. It's her way of reawakening shared emotional ground. When she references your history, she is watching your reaction very closely. Do your eyes light up? Do you respond warmly? Do you remember the moment with the same emotional weight she does? These responses tell her whether the connection still exists or whether she is the only one holding on to it. Her memories are a quiet form of vulnerability, a signal that she still values what you once shared but needs reassurance that you value it too. Another breadcrumb appears when she subtly checks in on your emotional life. She might ask how you are doing in a way that feels deeper than usual. She may ask if you've been sleeping well, eating properly, or dealing with stress. These questions aren't casual, they reflect emotional investment. When a woman asks about the deeper aspects of your life, it shows she still feels bonded to you on an intimate level. She is trying to gauge whether you still trust her, whether you still open up to her, and whether she still matters in your inner world. Her care is a test. If you respond with openness, she feels encouraged. If you respond coldly or indifferently, she pulls back to protect herself. She may also drop subtle hints about her own emotional state, knowing you might pick up on them. She may say she hasn't been sleeping well, that she misses certain routines, or that she feels something is off. These are not random statements, they're invitations for you to ask more, to dig deeper, to show that you still care. When a woman misses you, she wants to know whether her emotional world still matters to you. These small hints act like open doors, waiting for you to step through. If you ask the right questions, if you show empathy, if you demonstrate that her feelings still resonate with you, she feels validated and understood. That validation is precisely what she seeks before she risks anything more. Sometimes the breadcrumbs come in the form of curiosity about your life. She might casually ask if you are seeing someone, how your social life is going, or what you've been spending your time on. Again, this is not random curiosity. It is a subtle way of assessing whether there is still space for her. She is trying to determine whether you've moved on, whether there is another woman in your life, whether she still has emotional relevance. A woman who doesn't miss you doesn't care whether you're dating someone new. A woman who still longs for you wants to know because it determines what she can emotionally risk moving forward. Another form of breadcrumb is when she shares personal updates that she knows might affect you. She might tell you about a big accomplishment, a fear she's facing, or something meaningful that happened in her life. This isn't just sharing information. It's an attempt to restore emotional intimacy. By letting you into her life again, she is quietly saying, "I still want you to be someone who understands me." She watches explains that people betray their deepest feelings through their unconscious behavior long before they consciously admit anything. Her reactions reveal what she is too guarded to say out loud. She still cares more than she is prepared to admit. Women do this because emotional testing is part of how they navigate relationships. It allows them to assess safety, commitment, and emotional reciprocity without exposing themselves to unnecessary pain. She doesn't want to chase you outright, because direct pursuit risks rejection, embarrassment, or losing even the little connection that remains. These emotional breadcrumbs offer her a way to explore whether reconnecting with you is possible, whether you still see her with the same warmth and depth as before. The key to understanding these breadcrumbs is recognizing the emotional intelligence behind them. They are not manipulative or deceptive. They are protective. She wants to reconnect, but she wants to do it in a way that respects her dignity and guards her heart. She is sending you coded messages, hoping you will translate them, hoping you will recognize the emotional weight behind them. If you respond with warmth, clarity, and patience, she will gradually reveal more of her vulnerability. If you ignore the breadcrumbs, she may assume you no longer care, and she will retreat completely. Understanding these silent emotional tests gives you a deeper awareness of her internal world and a clearer understanding of what she truly feels but cannot yet voice. When a woman secretly misses you, her body begins speaking long before her mouth ever does. Human behavior, as Jordan Peterson often explains, is shaped by layers of unconscious emotion, instinct, and memory. People reveal themselves not through grand statements, but through subtle shifts in tone, posture, and presence. A woman who misses you cannot fully hide the emotional imprint you left on her, no matter how hard she tries. Her body language and the sound of her voice begin to betray the longing she's trying to suppress, and these signals are often far more honest than anything she could put into words. One of the clearest indicators is in her eyes. Eye contact between two people who share history carries emotional weight. When she misses you, she holds your gaze a little longer than she realizes, or she looks away quickly because the connection feels too intense. Both reactions communicate the same truth. Seeing you awakens feelings she hasn't fully resolved. Her eyes soften, become more expressive, or seem to search your face for signs that you still care. A woman who feels nothing is neutral. A woman who misses you becomes emotionally charged, and her eyes reflect that charge. Her tone of voice becomes another silent signal. She might speak to you more softly than she does with others, or her voice may carry excitement or tension when she hears your name. Emotion changes the way people speak. Pitch, rhythm, warmth, and even nervous laughter. When she secretly misses you, her voice becomes a reflection of her internal conflict. Part of her wants to appear composed, but another part is overflowing with emotion. If she suddenly grows shy, more nurturing, or more attentive in conversation with you, it reveals a longing she is trying to manage behind the scenes. Her posture around you transforms in subtle ways. She may lean in slightly when you talk, as if she unconsciously wants to be closer to your presence. Or she may cross her arms tightly, not because she is closed off, but because she is trying to protect herself from the vulnerability she feels. Women often guard their emotions with their posture, and when she misses you, she becomes more aware of her physical proximity. You might notice she adjusts her hair, straightens her clothes, or becomes unusually aware of how she appears in your presence. These small grooming gestures are evolutionary signals of attraction. They happen automatically when someone wants to be noticed by the person they care about. Nervous excitement is another powerful indicator. When she secretly misses you, her body betrays an emotional energy she cannot fully control. She may fidget, play with her phone, touch her neck, or shift her weight from one foot to the other. She might laugh more than usual or stumble over her words. These reactions come from heightened emotional tension. You represent something unresolved, something meaningful, and her body responds with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. Even if she tries to appear indifferent, the nervous energy beneath the surface reveals a different reality. Being near you affects her more than she wants to admit. One of the most telling signs appears when another woman enters the picture, a woman who secretly misses you at all. She may also become more attentive to your mood, your reactions, and your emotional cues. When a woman misses you, she pays extra attention to the smallest details. The way you smile, the tone you use, the energy you bring into the room. Her heightened awareness is an unconscious attempt to reconnect with the emotional map she once had of you. She listens more carefully, responds more gently, and notices things other people overlook. This attunement is a reflection of emotional longing. She still remembers what you sound like when you're hurting, when you're happy, when you're distant, and she can't help but track those signals. Again, sometimes the signal shows up in contrast. She may act overly calm, overly distant, or overly controlled around you. This is not indifference. It's emotional self-protection. When a woman misses you but feels unsure of where she stands, she tries to regulate her behavior to avoid appearing vulnerable. She might keep conversations short, avoid deep topics, or try to appear unaffected. But beneath that composure is a storm of emotion. The more controlled she tries to be, the more obvious it becomes that she is struggling with feelings she hasn't processed. Jordan Peterson often emphasizes that people do not hide their emotions as well as they think. The unconscious mind leaks through small gestures, tone shifts, and instinctive reactions. A woman who secretly misses you reveals it through these subtle patterns, not because she chooses to, but because the emotional bond still has power over her. Her body language becomes the language of her longing, speaking truths her words refuse to express. If you become aware of these signals, you begin to see the emotional truth behind her behavior. You begin to understand that her silence is not emptiness, it is protection. Her composure is not indifference, it is fear. And her body language, in all its subtle complexity, becomes the clearest window into a heart that still feels connected to yours even when her voice remains quiet. When a woman secretly misses you, she often finds herself caught between two powerful emotional forces, longing and fear. Longing pushes her toward you, urging her to reconnect. Fear holds her back, warning her not to risk rejection or to appear vulnerable. This tension creates a unique behavioral pattern. She begins to create situations where you must make the first move. It's her way of opening the door without fully stepping through it. Jordan Peterson frequently explains that people act in ways that preserve their dignity and emotional safety, especially in intimate relationships. A woman who misses you is no different. She doesn't want to chase you openly. She wants to feel chosen. So she gives you opportunities to take a step toward her, hoping you will notice the invitation. One of the most common ways she does this is by placing herself in your physical or digital path more often than before. She might show up in places you frequent, your gym, your favorite cafe, events you both use to attend, not by coincidence but by emotional intention. She wants to be near you without saying it outright. Maybe she walks by you casually, sits where you're likely to notice her, or positions herself close enough for you to start a conversation. These encounters are carefully orchestrated moments where she tells herself, if he wants to talk to me, he will. She isn't approaching directly because vulnerability terrifies her, but she is absolutely hoping you'll take the lead. In the digital world, she creates similar openings. She might post something meaningful, a picture, a quote, or a song that reflects her emotional state, something she hopes you will interpret as an invitation. She may even post at times she knows you are active, subtly drawing your attention. Or she views your stories instantly, interacts with your posts, or sends subtle reactions that are really signals for you to start a conversation. She is initiating the *** for connection without taking the risk of direct pursuit. These actions allow her to feel like she's reaching out without compromising her emotional guard. Another powerful signal appears in the way she communicates. She might message you something small, something that technically doesn't require a response, like a random meme, a short observation, or a comment about something trivial. These aren't empty messages, they are tests. She is giving you a gentle offer support. She wants to know if you still care, or she might hint at something exciting happening in her life, hoping you'll congratulate her or ask more. These emotional signals are designed to draw out your empathy, your curiosity, your protective instincts. She wants to feel like she still matters to you, but she wants you to show it first. A woman who misses you may also use mutual friends as a bridge. She might show up at gatherings she knows you'll attend or ask friends about your plans. She positions herself in situations where interaction is natural and expected, so you have the opportunity to make the first move without either of you looking desperate or intentional. It's her way of creating a safe environment where reconnection feels natural rather than forced. She wants to reconnect, but she doesn't want to lose her dignity in the process. Sometimes she creates emotional distance not to push you away, but to see whether you'll come closer. She might respond to your messages slowly or briefly, not because she's uninterested, but because she wants to see whether you'll put in effort. This behavior is often misunderstood by men. Many think she's losing interest, when in reality, she is evaluating your initiative. She wants to know whether you'll step up, whether you'll bridge the emotional gap, whether you'll show that she still matters enough to pursue. Her slight detachment is a strategic move, not a sign of disinterest. Even her silence can be an invitation. When a woman misses you, silence isn't absence, it's a test. She is waiting to see whether you will notice the space she has created and whether you will choose to fill it. Silence gives her psychological protection. If you take initiative, she can tell herself that the connection matters to you as well. If you don't, she can retreat without feeling like she exposed too much. One of the deepest reasons she creates scenarios for you to make the first move is tied to something fundamental in human relationships, the desire to feel valued. She doesn't want to feel like she is chasing someone who may not want her back. She wants to see confirmation that you still care, that you still feel something, that she isn't alone in her longing. By allowing you to move first, she regains a sense of emotional safety. You become the one accepting the vulnerability of approaching, and she becomes the one who feels chosen. Jordan Peterson's insights on interpersonal dynamics highlight this pattern. People consistently seek clarity, security, and emotional reciprocity. A woman who misses you creates the opportunity for connection, but waits for you to confirm it. She doesn't want to risk being hurt again, but she also cannot fight the pull she feels toward you. So she crafts situations where your initiative becomes the answer to her unspoken question: does he still care? When you understand this dynamic, the confusion fades. Her behavior stops seeming random. You realize that she isn't indecisive, she's cautious. She isn't cold, she's afraid. And she isn't distant, she's hoping you will close the distance for her. Recognizing these subtle invitations allows you to see the emotional truth she's too guarded to speak aloud. She misses you deeply, but she needs you to step forward so she can feel safe stepping closer